Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is the brand new Scott Pilgrim anime that released on Netflix, and I really want to talk about it. My history with Scott Pilgrim mythos has always been kind of weird. I watched the movie for the first time a couple years ago, and honestly, don't crucify me here, but I didn't really like it. It's one of those movies that gets universal praise from the film community, I guess, and maybe I went into it with unrealistic expectations. I don't know, but a couple years later, I don't know, this year actually, I bought the deluxe books, the deluxe, I don't know, big volume covers, whatever, the entire Scott Pilgrim story in 3 simple books. And honestly, I love the comic. I love the art. I love the comedy, the storytelling, and fast forward to the end of 2023, we have something completely different in the Scott Pilgrim franchise. I think when most people heard about this anime, that it would be, an adaptation of the comic, like a direct adaptation, but with the cast of the movie, so, it gives the audience some familiarity with the Scott Pilgrim franchise, to give this show a chance, because, it's the movie cast that you love with more of the plot developments that you're not familiar with, but, that's what I thought they were doing. But no, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is a very literal show by the name. So yes, if you don't know, Scott Pilgrim dies in episode 1 and does not come back until like episode 7 or episode 7, the second to last episode of the season. And for a majority of the show, the main character is Ramona Flowers. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest when I say that the concept of this show I kind of like it. The execution is a little rocky though. Let me start off by saying that the reason why I love the comic so much is, again, the art and the comedy. It's definitely not the characters, which is kind of weird to think about, right? Because some of the most successful franchises in the world, Marvel, for example, and I'm just talking about, its prime before, Phase 4 or whatever, you could argue that people only went to Marvel movies because of its characters, because those characters felt real, they felt like real people, the character interactions and dynamics were lively and fun, and almost everything about those movies, like the cinematography, the plot, writing, whatever, was at worst mid to repetitive, like, to be honest, or let's be honest, straight up bad sometimes, but, you still kept going because, Tony Stark was really charismatic and cool. Steve Rogers was, an extension of yourself or something like that. I don't get that same feeling from Scott Pilgrim. I don't particularly have a favorite character in this, like, franchise, except Wallace. Wallace is funny. And Kim. I like Wallace and Kim, but, besides that, I don't really think of Scott Pilgrim as a very character-written or driven show. Movie, franchise, whatever. And the comic made me stay for its style and its comedy. That's why I stayed and really loved that comic. So something positive I can say about the show is that it really made me care about the characters. This is the first time when consuming anything Scott Pilgrim related that I can say confidently I cared about the 7 Evil Exes. I cared about young Neil. They gave him a ton more things to do. And, honestly, almost all the characters that did not get that same treatment in the movie or comic gets treatment and more character work than you would ever expect in this season. Except this is where some positives are going to be taking a hold, because it's weird how the 7 Evil Exes got so much character work and development, but for some reason, I feel like Sex Bomb and Ramona, particularly, I'm kind of being serious here when I say that they kind of got downsided this time around. The members of Sex Bomb don't really do anything. I mean, Scott is gone for like the entire show. Ramona is weirdly enough kind of the main character, but it doesn't feel like it. Like, I feel like we didn't get anything with her character-wise. The comic and the movie are two mediums that has less Ramona screen time, but they do way more with the character than this show ever did. In this show, her main motivation for saving Scott is just, they had a good first date and they had the sparks, but you still don't know him at all. You're doing all of this for a person that you don't even know if it's going to work out. And I just think that they could have done a little bit more to regress her character growth. The lesson that she learns in the Scott Pilgrim franchise, whatever, is not to run away. Stop running away, stop self-sabotaging. That is not apparent in this show. It's there, but it's more apparent, more built up, more paid off better in the other forms of Scott Pilgrim media. And Scott himself, I can say, has never been a character I liked particularly in any of the adaptations, so the whole future storyline stuff also kind of didn't work for me. I mean, I feel like it's a direction that was a scrapped idea in the comic that they didn't use, so they just said it and put it in the show. Like, that's what I feel like that was. You know, enough complaining. Let me get back to actually praising this project. As I said, this show does take a lot of characters that were previously, you know, ignored or just like one and done bosses, and, you know, really gave them amazing character work. And besides that, this show has amazing animation. This show is beautiful to look at. You could tell that this was a project that was probably in production for like a year, and like major action sequences to even small conversations were very well detailed. They were very clearly indicated that the animators were given proper time, proper mandates, and, you know, I'm glad that they could really take well care of this project. You know, Mappa Studios, please take notes. Like, please. The show is also just very funny. Like, this is a very funny show, and, you know, I'm glad that they stuck to the source material for comedic timing and the style, and even invented new jokes that fit really well in the directions in a surprising way. Definitely in a surprising way, I'll say the least. Overall, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is a great alternate take to the world of Scott Pilgrim, and it does amazing in prioritizing the neglected parts of the universe. And, you know, I feel like it didn't go enough, though, to keep the main characters on that same level of quality writing-wise, but at least I could say that when it comes to the visual strictly, I cannot think of anything else this year that looks as good. Maybe Spider-Verse, and, you know, they really cooked up for this show, so I'm glad that that's the case, and overall, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Let me know what you think of the show, what you think of this video, and I appreciate your support.